I told the others. They didn't believe me. You're all doomed. You're all doomed.
Doomed.
You're all doomed.
You're all doomed. You're all doomed. Jesus.
Shut up. Like, go away. Who are you?
Why are you talking to me?
Why are you at this camp? Like, for
No, that was at the phone booth. But yeah, then why
Oh,
did you show
yeah.
up
Yeah,
later?
he shows up later. Why are you at the camp?
Yeah,
Watch
at
that
the
Vicky through the
camp
window.
I know.
Being creepy, riding his stupid little witch's bike. It reminded me of the Wizard of Oz. He's like that perfect posture bike that you ride. If you had a basket on the front, you'd be like, sold.
You're all doomed. And your little dog,
Too. And there was a dog.
Little muffin.
Yeah, muffin. Yeah.
Little muffin.
All right. Welcome to Screams and Streams, the podcast that looks at the best and worst horror movies as rated on Rotten Tomatoes from 1970 onwards. I'm your host, Mike, and with me are my co-hosts,
Chad.
and
Sam.
be sure to check us out on Instagram. Our handle is @ScreamStreamPod. Also, check out our website, screamsandstreams.com, for more information about all the films we are looking at. Just a warning, if you don't like spoilers, we recommend that you stop listening now, check out the film, and then rejoin us for our discussion. Today, we're looking at a film from Chad's childhood that scared him, and it is Steve Miner's 1981 film, Friday the 13th, Part 2. It scored 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's get into it. Sam, could we get the plot summary, please?
Absolutely. Months after Alice beheaded psycho killer / mother, Pamela Voorhees, at
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Wow, that hits it right out of the gate. Months after beheading. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Months after Alice beheaded psycho killer / mother, Pamela Voorhees, at Camp Crystal Lake, survivor Alice is still traumatized because of the murders. No shit.
Yeah, you think?
But there's one problem. Mrs. Voorhees' son, Jason, never drowned and died. So he saw Alice behead Mrs. Voorhees.
Sorry. I was hoping to avoid the reaction.
No, it's fair because I had the same reaction reading this. Jason finds Alice soon and murders her. 5 years later, a camp counselor and training program begins at a lot. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at this plot summary because it's like, anyways.
I know.
A month later, as you connect all the
15
dots
minutes
here, it's like, this is dumb. Why would they go there?
Yep. So a camp counselor in training program begins at a lodge right near Camp Crystal Lake. As teenagers in the program start snooping around Camp Crystal Lake, they start getting killed violently one by one.
There you go.
All
That's
right.
it.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to go into our sinister sip for this film. It is the Crystal Lake Chiller from creepybonfire.com.
Ooh, creepy bonfire.
That sounds good. Okay,
It looks good.
cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Looks very sweet.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, Sprite? 7-Up?
Just soda water.
Oh, it tastes like Sprite.
Yeah. So it's blue curacao, vodka, the lime juice, triple sec, and a splash of soda water.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's supposed to have edible blue glitter in it to give the crystal sparkle effect, but I didn't know where to buy it, and I wasn't going to go hunting to use.
No, that's fine.
Don't think it's necessary. It still looks great.
We're going to move into our first impressions. Chad, why don't you start us off?
This is actually the first time I've revisited this film since I watched it as a kid. There were still parts that made me jump. There were still parts that got me. And I liked it. I thought it was a fun slasher film. I mean, it's predictable.
Yeah.
And there's a part in my notes here that once this one thing happens, then it's okay. Now we're fully going down the hill. We're committed. But I liked it. I thought it was a fun slasher film. I liked the blood. I liked the killings. And yeah, we'll get into the rest of it in the categories, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank you. Me, for my first impression, I don't remember the first time I watched this because I started later in the franchise.
Right.
So I don't know when I first encountered it, but my first watch that I remember, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Rewatching it for this, I think it's interesting to we started with 3, then we did 8, and now we're back to 2.
Yeah.
And this was the far most enjoyable of the 3.
Yeah.
There are the tropes and the typical slasher things, but from beginning to end, entertaining, fun. It finally picks up pace and just becomes a great slasher.
Yeah.
Sam, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. I've seen this movie. I don't remember really when. I've seen, I feel, almost all of the Friday movies. I think I don't think I ever watched them in order. This one's the same as the other ones, just with a different mask and with a weird mom-son connection.
Yeah.
But same deal. I was entertained for the most part. It was enjoyable, predictable, but good overall. So
Yep.
For sure. Thank you. We're now going to go into our Tropes Hall of Shame, and I'm going to start us off. And my first one made me giggle because it made me think back to Monkey Shines.
Yes, I know what you're going to say because I thought about
up from
it
a nightmare.
Yeah. I was going to put, and she's not a quadriplegic.
So yeah, that's my first one. And my second one is the cat jumping through the window, the jump scare.
Oh,
It's the animal, not the killer.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Chad, what were a couple of yours?
I had Crazy Man Foretelling the Doom, which we heard in the opening of our podcast. Oh, you're all doomed. I told them we're all doomed. So that guy.
Yeah, I had that guy too. That guy.
And he turns into a creeper.
Yep.
And then my other one was woman convincing the guy to go investigate.
Oh, yeah.
But she's using like her body to get him to do it. She's like, come on, we can say this, and I'll give you something special tonight.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, I'll go then.
I guess.
100% okay.
All right, let's go. So yeah, those were my first two.
All right, thank you. Sam, what were some of yours?
With the dream in the first part, the fade in and fade out.
Oh, yeah,
of
the
dream.
ripples?
Yeah, the ripple. I
Yeah,
said the
yeah.
waves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bad. And then windows being open all the time on a ground floor while you're home alone.
Yeah.
Why? Just close your fucking windows. Like, you're gonna get murdered. Lock your doors.
Especially when you have trauma and you're worried about
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. I
Yes.
would think she would be holed up like pretty securely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And probably even have a dog as opposed to a cat.
Yeah.
Yep. Might be good.
All right. My next two, I had going skinny dipping.
Oh, yes, I had that.
It
Yeah.
was kind of weird, like by herself and just no underwear on at all that day.
I just had, of course, there's a skinny dipping scene.
Yeah.
She walks up looking around. Well, it's midnight. Let's go for a dip.
Yeah.
I was like, it's cold.
It's
Like, why? I don't know. I don't get why there's so many skinny dipping scenes in these horror films because, like,
Lakes
around the lake, they're cold. Not enjoyable.
And then my other one was the person with the most clarity must be drunk. So when Ginny's at the bar talking about Jason and
Oh, yeah.
they're like, oh, how much have you had? Oh, she's just drunk.
Yeah, they don't believe her. Yeah, I have that as well. Yeah.
Chad, what else did you have?
Oh, I had the car won't start. Heavily foreshadowed
Yep.
from the get-go.
Yep.
Like, as soon as the car gets into the scene, it's backfiring. I was like, well, that thing's not fucking helping her.
Worse than Archie's jalopy.
Oh, man. So that one. And also not making sure the killer's dead.
Yeah.
Like, there are multiple times, which is one of the things that I did like is they humanize Jason in this one a little bit because he falls around. He's quite klutzy, but she knocks him down several times and then runs away.
Yeah.
And then runs away. It's like there is a pitchfork there. There is a machete there. There is a broken canoe paddle. Like, we've got lots of ways to kill this guy, and you just keep running.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anyways, not making sure the killer's dead.
Yep.
Thank you. Sam, what were some of the other ones?
the power outage. See it all the time. And the
Oh, yeah.
thunderstorm.
The thunderstorm.
Oh,
that
that's
was awesome, too.
thunderstorm.
Perfect. Thank you.
I also had backing away instead of turning and running. So in that scene where she discovers the impaled sandwich there, where they're
Sandra and remember?
they're on the bed and she's screaming, and then he pops up and has the knife slowly approaching her, and she's just backing away. No, the door is open. Like, she could have just turned and full on ran, but she's no, and then gets backed into the corner, and then of course, stabby, it's done. So
Yeah.
that was my other one.
All right, perfect. Thank you. We're now going to go into our one-liners. Chad, why don't you start us off here, please?
Sure. I had in the introduction to the counselor meeting, Paul, I believe his name is, right? The head counselor.
Yeah.
He says, contrary to what you've heard, bears are dangerous.
Yeah.
So what counselor has heard that bears are safe? And then he follows that up with, so ladies, keep clean during your menstrual cycles.
I forgot about that.
But he says it in this awkward, like, keep clean in your menstrual cycle.
Clean your badges, guys.
I hear bears smell the menstruation. It's just, I had a chuckle at those ones.
That's a good one. I forgot about that. And then it like pans to the two girls.
And they're looking at each other.
Filthy
Oh, Jay, yeah,
I guess
we're going to try to stay clean.
We'll do our best in the middle of the woods.
One of the first lines I had was when they're going to they're trying to decide who's going to go into the city for one last night of fun. Vicky asks Mark, like, are you going? He's like, on the wheelchair. He's like, nothing spoils a party faster than a drunk in a wheelchair. Yeah. Just like, ouch. Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
too.
And then when they're talking at the bar, and it's like, what would he be like today?
Oh, yes, I have
some kind of out of control psychopath, a frightened retard, a child trapped in a man's body.
Yes. I had that as well.
Like, I know the 80s, we used the R word a lot, but it was just like, oh.
She just throws it out there, and I was like, oh. It's not very PC, but it was a different time.
Yeah, I have that actually under what doesn't hold up. I was like, the R word?
Yeah.
All right, Sam, what were some of your lines?
The first one I had was Scott, who was like kind of creepy and weird.
The slingshot guy?
Yeah, the creeper. The other creeper. One of them.
One of the creepers,
One of many, I would argue. When he gets in, he steps into the snare and he's hanging up upside down before he dies. And then he goes, God damn that, Paul. Him and his wilderness bullshit. But like, why is there actually a snare there? Like in the middle of where they walk. That's wild. Wilderness bullshit.
Wilderness bullshit.
It's like, why are you a camp counselor?
Yeah,
outdoors.
Well, and he looks like the least outdoorsy of any of them. Like, he's wearing khaki pants. He's got his collar flipped up. He's
right out of the yacht club.
Yeah, exactly. And he's out there being a camp counselor and clearly just there for the ladies.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
My second one was Vicky and Mark. So when after Jeff and Mark arm wrestled, Vicky says, want to take me on? And Mark says, sure, have a seat. And then she goes, no, I only want your fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hormones are there.
Oozed.
She hits hard.
She wanted that.
She sure did. Yeah.
All right, Chad, what lines did you have?
Well, my other ones were from the Paul again. It was at the beginning, and I just thought the delivery was so fake, so I just kind of laughed about it. When he's trying to introduce the counselors and that they all know each other or have a relationship, he's like, yeah, you guys worked upstate, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then it pans to them, and they're like, yeah, and they're shaking and they're nodding, and yeah, we did. And then he's like, and we worked together a couple of summers, right? And it's like, you don't know?
Yeah.
It just seems so fake and tacked on. I just thought it didn't really need to be there, so I kind of chuckled at that. So those were my next ones.
My next line connects to the I only want your fingers conversation.
Yep.
And Vicky's like, so just your legs, huh? Is everything else all right?
Yeah.
And then in a brief, like sort of almost nod to Monkey Shines, he's like, I do all right one way or another.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And then my next line is almost the trope, just because Scream pointed out how ridiculous it is. But when Vicky's like, I'll be right back. He's like, she's gonna die.
Yeah. Immediately, yes.
Yeah.
But they kind of trick you there because she does go out. She does do her stuff and actually make it back to the...
Yeah.
I thought she was going to die in the other building, but nope.
Chad, do you have any other lines?
Oh, I just had where Jeff was sitting down to arm wrestle the guy again, and she says, Jeff, don't wear yourself out. You want to wrestle? Come with me.
Oh,
and
She was
she was quite the...
she was thirsty.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my last one.
Well, she got interrupted at Crystal Lake, so she,
Yeah.
had a plan, and she's following through still.
That's right. She wanted to make that happen.
And my last one, because it was almost going to go in my shadows, but the thing that I noticed, and then like 30 seconds later, there was a line when Vicky and Paul get back to the camp and she's just like, what the hell are all the lights on for? I'm like, right? Yeah. Like the adult in me was looking at that cabin like, why do they have every goddamn light on? Like, turn off some lights.
They wouldn't have left the cabin like this.
Irritated the shit out of me. And I'm so happy that they said that. All right. We're now going to go into our what doesn't hold up. And Sam, you're going to start us off.
The title flying in and exploding during the opening credits was so bad. I was like, what?
Yeah. No. Why did it explode?
There's no explosions in the entire movie.
I actually looked through it and I thought, well, maybe this was supposed to be shot in 3D. But because the credits swoop in and then it blows up. And then there was that one scene with the knife. But that Friday the 13th wasn't shot in 3D. It was the other one we did that was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But I had, the opening credits because they did like that font and everything was just so bad.
The word art.
It was horrible. Yeah.
And then I said, guys popping their collars. So, popped collars. Yeah. Those are my first two.
All right. Thank you. My first one was when Terry is like, I think she's looking for Muffin, maybe not, I don't know, but Jason's in the trees looking. He looks around the corner and sees Terry, and she looks directly into the camera. So we assume she's looking into Jason's eyes and like she doesn't see the man with a bag over his head right there. So that doesn't hold up. Mm-hmm. And my other one, this one was just irritated me. Vicky getting ready to be with Mark, where she's like, I'll be right back. And so she goes and like she changes her sweater. I'm like, why? Like he's already interested in her. Why?
Yeah.
It's a lower cut. And then she puts on way too much perfume.
Oh, way too much. Yeah. I was like, whoa, she's going to smell like a 90-year-old woman. This is not okay.
It's just wrist, neck, cleavage. And then she like playfully like down the panties. And the best part is she like laughs about it. Like, no one's watching you. You're by yourself.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I didn't get is in the choosing of the underwear, she like grabs it, looks at it in the mirror and is like, oh yeah. And I like
and they're like the least sexy underwear.
It's brown panties.
They're brown and like I think that's supposed to be silk, but it's very clearly not silk.
Very fake silk.
And they're like not even like super tight fit. Like
nope, they're loose.
They're loose. They're a little saggy.
The wind makes them flap when she's out walking around in her underwear, which is why is she out walking around in her?
That was my last thing with it doesn't hold.
So many questions.
She puts on the sweater, changes her underwear, is like, now I need to go to the car to get my brush.
Yes.
Where she keeps in her glove compartment, she thinks like.
Why wouldn't she have moved that into the bathroom when they unloaded their stuff? I don't know. She's got her underwear, but not her toiletries.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
Hideous brown. Polyester underwear.
That's right.
There's no breathing.
And it's going to care. Like, they're going to. I don't know.
That's what I didn't get. It's like, he is good to go.
I know. He wants this now, and you're leaving to go get into a frock sweater and some brown ass panties that nobody cares about.
That's funny.
The man is good to go. He's not changing. He's not putting on a new football shirt.
Okay, Chad, what else did you have that didn't hold up?
Well, mine were a little bit kind of because the time has changed. This one was riding in the box of a truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of them are going to
fall out.
Go to this bar and they're all like, woohoo, whoop it up. And like, there's no safety there whatsoever. But I do remember riding in the box of my dad's truck and stuff. Like, it was a thing, but yeah, they were ready to go. Also, I did have a question as like, who's driving? Like, all these guys are getting hammered and nobody's, but I guess that was a different time too. I'm not sure what the limit to driving drunk was back in 81, but
when Ginny and Paul leave, he does say to the one guy that stays behind, like, make sure you give the keys to whomever. So they were aware that like he was way too drunk with his like collection of beer bottles.
Right. Yeah. I did have one more. That was the dancing in this film is amazing. Awful.
To the music that is playing very quietly.
Oh my
Lord.
Lord.
Was this just the two people in front of the front door that were dancing?
The dancing in any of the scenes, like when they're dancing in the counselor place and when they're dancing at the bar, everybody's just like,
it's worse than the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah.
And staring directly into each other.
Staring right at each other. It's the most awkward dance I've ever seen. all junior high kids that are like not knowing what to do. Ridiculous. So those were my two.
All right. Thank you. Sam, what else do you have?
I had Rex's acting. So Rex was like the friend who they went and met him after the car got towed or whatever.
Oh,
at the beginning.
He's just a red-haired boy.
Yeah, he's
tall,
just a silly, goofy guy. Like,
Yeah.
he just reminded me of Goof Troop. Like his teeth were always out. And he's
Yeah.
like, I was like, I hated him. So,
When their car gets, when
his
that pickup
teeth
truck
are always
gets-
out.
Yeah.
they run. Like, you know, the guy's not driving that fast, but they run for a fair while after a driving vehicle. I was like, good for those two.
I would not have. Like, well, because I don't have a car anymore.
They have some cardio. Yeah, that's for sure.
And then I had the beginning scenes were awful, like the dream scenes.
The reminder of what happened.
Yeah, I thought that was all awful.
I thought there was a little, I hope I'm not taking a gratuitous, but I thought there was just too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was constant flashbacks, and then you see her like writhing on the bed, and then it goes back. And then again, it's like, we didn't need the mom's monologue about how everything happened.
Yeah.
Like, we really only needed to see the last bit and how she survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, how the time between 1 and 2, I thought must have been really long. So like, we really need to remind audiences, but they were only released a year apart.
Oh, that's
so
weird.
Even though there's no home video at the time, audiences wouldn't have forgotten that much that they needed that much of a
Rewatch.
Rewatch.
It was a lot.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
3 does the same thing where it like shows the ending of 2, but it's just a quick replay of literally the film. There's no dream trauma sequence. Yeah.
Well, and I can see a recap, like, or make it like you can see her struggling and have one transition into that, show it, have her transition out. We don't need constant back and forth. She's really disturbed by this. It's like, we get it.
We know that's super traumatizing.
Yeah. All her friends died.
Yeah, everyone.
And she thought the boy grabbed her into the lake. So I can see she's troubled.
Yeah.
And just to like go on that, not to jump too far forward, but in my bonus features, I found that this film actually has one of the longest pre-credit sequences in cinematic history.
Oh.
So it's nearly 18 minutes. So it did feel like gratuitous and way too long because that all happened and then it cut. Right. So,
and then the credits came on and then we got into the new film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes sense
So
because
this
it
movie
was
is
long.
an hour and 8 minutes long, essentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Ideal, actually.
Right. Sam, do you have any other doesn't holdups?
I do. I said the girl not being concerned about her dog being gone for the entire day. Like, she's like, Muffin.
Yeah. I mentioned that too. I was like, does nobody realize the dog's gone? Like,
Yeah.
Muffin.
Well, and then like they find the dead dog at Crystal Lake that looks similar to Muffin, and they say nothing.
I know. Well, those guys knew that they had a dog there, and it looks they're just like, oh, somebody's lost their dog, and
and then it's like, where's Muffin? Has anyone seen Muffin? They're just like, don't say shit.
But yeah, she seemed very nonchalant. And then she like, Muffin, are you in here? And they're like, dinner's ready. And she's like, okay. And she just walks back down. I was like, the dog's been gone all day. Like
in the
all
wilderness.
Day. In the wilderness. And that's an indoor dog. I looked at that's not an outdoor adventure mutt.
I mean, it's got adventure mutt. It's got its hair done.
It's got a full blowout.
It is definitely not a wilderness dog.
No.
And then I also had the R word being used. I was like, no, that's not okay. And then I said Jason's overalls are like not scary. Like,
no,
man in overalls
very,
to me is
very
not.
bumpkin.
Honestly, I was like, oh, that makes him less scary.
And they were beautifully clean for a guy that's been living in the woods apparently
for 5 years. Is it 5 years?
No, it's longer than that.
Longer than that?
Yeah, I've got timeline stuff later.
Well, how old was he when he died?
So Jason drowned in 1957. Miss Voorhees then waits 22 years to kill everyone in 1970.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is what
it's 5 years after the mom killed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, because I was confused with the timeline, so I put that into shadows, and so I went into it. Yeah,
the mom played the long game.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then so 1979, she kills everybody. 5 years later is 1984. So he's been alive since 1957 in these woods.
Whew. He's got the cleanest pants.
Yeah.
And his shack could have been better. Like
that 27 years.
I would expect a full
put some
homestead.
time into that.
Farm.
Yeah, the bum and the blob had a better setup than Jason did.
Yeah. And Halloween 5 was
Yeah.
an amazing shack.
And also, no one's seen the shack.
Yeah.
And it seems really
Yeah.
close to that camp. Like, it didn't seem
It is,
far.
yeah.
I didn't like the prolonged knife POV.
Oh, yeah.
Hated
Yeah.
that. I didn't like the cuts to some of the scenes. Did not like that at all. And I think that's it.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you for those.
Mhm.
We are now going to go into our most gratuitous scenes. And Chad, you're going to start us off.
So I had made mention of this before. It was after the sheriff's death, the whole movie just follows the formula and the template.
Yeah.
These teenagers are hooking up, boom, they're dead. Teenagers are hooking up, boom, they're dead. It's just like, now we're just getting through the killing
Yeah.
to get to the climax. It just kind of becomes this formula
Mhm.
that you just watch. So there was that one. Another one, which I had mentioned, was I'm going to take the kissing scene with Paul and Ginny.
Mm-hmm.
They just stand there, big open mouth, sloppy kissing each other.
I have that too.
And then they back off, they talk, and then right back into it. And I was like, go to a room. Like, what? You're just in the entranceway of your cabin making out.
Poorly making out.
Yeah, poorly.
So they've never kissed before. It was open mouth, full on jaws.
It looked
to
like
the
she was
side.
going to try to swallow him.
And
Like,
the mouth doesn't close at all.
No.
Like it's just
like-
wide open.
this big, wide, big, sloppy kiss. The amount of drool that must have been happening.
Yeah.
It's just out of hand. So yeah, that was
It's so gross.
and it happens so much. Like they break off, they talk, they go into it again. They break off, they talk, they go into it again. I think it's like 4 times.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, enough. Either progress or cut it.
Nice.
Anyways.
Thank you. Sam, what did you have that was gratuitous in the film?
So I had the kissing. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And then I also had the amount of perfume the girl put on before.
Oh yeah.
And then I had Jason's lurking was like kind of annoying. It's like just
Yeah.
kill someone. Like it
Oh,
almost took
yeah,
too
yeah.
long for the first kill to happen, I thought.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that.
All right. And then for me with gratuitous, I was trying to decide if it was in titillating or not, but that ass shot of Terry in the short shorts when she's jogging, I think that's more gratuitous. Like it was completely unnecessary. The shortest shorts ever.
Oh, and they really zoomed in.
Yeah, and they held it for a long
Yep.
time.
Sure did.
Yeah. And then my other gratuitous is just how long Mark sits on the porch calling for Vicky before he's killed, and then how far he rolls. Like
Oh, that is laughably bad.
he doesn't look right. He just looks straight like, Vicky? Vicky?
Yeah.
And he goes down the longest staircase I've ever seen.
It's like 3 levels.
And he turned a corner too. So it was like off the porch and then down towards the lake. So those are mine.
Yeah.
All right. We're now going to move into terrifying or titillating. And Sam, you're going to start us off.
I know we already talked about the skinny dipping scene. So, of course, the titillating part, she's naked, whatever. But then just swimming at night in a dark lake by yourself would be so scary.
Yeah.
Like, so scary. So I thought that would be pretty terrifying. And then I also just made a comment about the arguably unsexy brown panties and how not titillating they are.
Well, there's no arguably. They are unsexy.
Yeah.
Sexy. I don't know. Some people might be into that, but
Loose nylon.
Come and get some. There we go. Yeah, no, it's just not the
not it.
No. All right, Chad, what was terrifying or titillating for you?
Oh, well, I had the skinny dipping scene as well. I thought she was very attractive.
Yes.
So when she got naked, I was like, oh, all right, this is a bit of all right. But yeah, also swimming. So I've swum in lakes that you just can't see because they're murky and stuff, and that's scary enough. But at nighttime when the water's black, and it's
so scary.
pretty freaky. And it almost sounded like they had a bit of a Jaws song in there while she was like looking around and stuff. Dude. But like they wanted to change it enough that they didn't have to
Pay royalties.
Yeah, pay royalties,
Yeah.
but it was definitely Jaws-ish.
Yes.
Yep.
So there was that one. And then I made a comment, not about the panties. I made a comment about the other girl's shorts. She's the one with Jeff, and I can't remember her name. She gets killed in the bed.
Sandra, I think. Yeah, Sandra.
Yeah. Anyways, she's got that brown patch on her ass.
Yeah.
And I was just like, those shorts she's wearing are hideous. That brown patch on her ass looks like shit.
I was trying to figure out, like, is it a pocket that she had to replace?
I
Is
have
it just like
no idea what it was. It was like it took up the whole part of that cheek. And I was just like, why is it brown? I don't understand it. And it looked like a different material. So it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just made that comment. I was like, they look hideous.
Thank you. And then my titillating, we talked about it, but Vicky's, like, her advances to Mark were just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
She knew what she wanted and she locked it.
Yeah. She locked in like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, yep.
So, yeah, that was mine. We're now going to go to Stood the Test of Time, and I'm going to start. I quite enjoyed, even though they did it a bit too much, but in the opening sequence when they're tracking Alice through the house,
Oh, yeah.
I started to think about the fact, like, they don't know Jason exists yet.
Right.
So she's got this trauma of Pamela Voorhees and all that happened. And I was just like, yeah, I'd be afraid to be home alone and walking through those dark hallways. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad, what were some of your tests of time?
I really like the ice pick kill at the start.
Yeah.
Where he just kind of slowly stabs it into her temple. I was like, whoa, I thought that was good. I thought the blood looked really good too in a lot of cases.
Awesome. Thank you. Sam, what were a couple of yours?
Yeah, I liked some of the kills and I liked how they were all different. So I always liked that. And then I liked the mask compared to the hockey mask.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
It was also too clean for it to be out.
Oh yeah,
for
it should have been really
decades.
Yeah, it should have been dirtier. But I agree. I like the sack more than the hockey mask. That's what freaked me out about this is just that one eye.
The one eye hole's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
I always love that though with like the bag that's loose. It's like, how much does he actually see? Maybe
I
that's why
know.
he fell over so much.
Yeah.
Right. And Chad, do you have another test of time?
I also like how they make him more like human
Mm-hmm.
in this one. Like he fights with Paul and they fall around and stuff. He's not this, crazy strong being that would just like hold him up and toss him through a window. Like he's flawed. So I like that in this.
I love how klutzy Jason is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she turns around, one of my favorite is when she hides in that bush and then she turns around and kicks him in the nuts.
Yeah.
When he comes and he grabs his balls. Like in any other Jason, he would just like
Look at her.
yeah, he'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But in that one, he's like, "Ooh!" And then he falls down, and I'm like, "Oh, why?" So I like that.
All right, perfect. Thank you. We're now going to go into our eerie to ear splitting. Chad, what were your thoughts on this one?
I wasn't sure whether to put this into gratuitous or into eerie to ear splitting, so I put it here. It's the Jason kill. I thought it was just overused.
Yeah.
Especially as you said, Sam, in the beginning when he's stalking, it's always kill.
Yeah.
So by the time he actually starts killing, there's no fear or anything there. It's just been used too much.
I agree. I have the same thing.
Yeah.
And then, Sam, what was another one that you had?
I didn't like the sound of the pitchfork going into the car top. It was like super cheesy.
Oh,
when I got it on.
yeah.
It was like a weird ripping noise. And I was like, oh, don't like that.
And then for me, I just had like at the very beginning when Mrs. Voorhees attacks, there's like a weird like "Meow" sound, like a cat noise. That was a weird sound design. And my other one, it almost got gratuitous and annoying as well, is the high pitched sound every time Jason steps into camera.
Oh yeah.
Because they always have like the foot angle.
Yeah.
Throw me nuts.
For sure.
Okay, we're now going to go to our what the fuck moment. Sam, what was your what the fuck?
I can't remember her name. The smart chick who was like doing the child psychology degree.
Ginny.
Okay. Her hiding spot was so bad. So she was running. She picked like this tiny little shrub bush. And then she's like bending the little feeble branches and trying to cover herself. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's where you chose to hide. It's an entire forest of dense brush. And you pick this like house plant and just cover up your
house plant.
two little leaves. I was like, come on, girl.
All right. Thank you. And Chad, what was your what the fuck?
I had two, if I could.
Yep.
The first one was at the end, after the battle that Paul and Jason have in the main area, like Paul's alive. So I was like, why would Jason leave him alive?
Right.
He would have took the time and killed him. He wouldn't have left him to go find Ginny.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no time that Jason has ever left a guy around.
Right.
So that didn't make sense to me. So yeah, I think Paul should have been killed. And then my other one is, why is the one that went and put on the brown panties there? She comes back, and this may be, I don't know, inappropriate, but why would she look for the paralyzed guy upstairs? Like, unless he got bumped up the stairs or helped in some way, there's no reason why he wouldn't be on the main floor. And the camp is just not very accessible.
Not at all.
It's the worst. Like at the beginning, he's on the gravel road and she's coming, hey, do you need some? No, I got it. And it's the worst, most awkward way to get to the meeting. And stairs are everywhere. I was like, this is not an appropriate place for someone with that kind of injury.
All right. Thank you. We're now going to get to the scenes we wanted to back up. And Chad, you were the only one with a back it up moment. So what was it?
What
he said judgmentally.
Yeah, no doubt. I backed up the end where he jumps through the window.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know why. I got a jump scare and then I kind of backed it up and then watched it again. So that was the only thing. There wasn't really a reason. I did kind of like how they made him look like a caveman because he would have been, you know, disheveled and all messed up there. I think his beard probably would have been bigger.
Yep.
And more unkempt. But other than that, I liked the end scene. So I backed it up.
I did back it up just because when he comes through the window, you see his right side of his face and it's bare. There's no hair whatsoever. And he looks kind of like sloth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next shot is this like Jim Morrison with a beard-esque looking guy.
Yeah.
Like, what? Did they screw this up? And so I went back like, oh no, like they just showed like his one side is all messed up.
Yeah.
But
that's the other thing is by the end, the last one we did, Jason 8, when he takes his mask off, he looks ridiculous. Whereas this, it looks a little more believable.
Yeah.
I thought anyways.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you. We're now going to go into our hiding in the shadows, and I'm going to start us off. And my first one was just that state trooper is a hell of a tracker.
Oh, yeah.
Jason is far ahead of him and could go in any direction, and yet he goes exactly in the same direction and follows him to a T.
Give the man a raise.
He's great at his job. All right, Chad, what was hiding in the shadow for you?
My question was, why is there a toilet in the shack? There's no plumbing.
He's got a septic system.
Why is he setting that up? Like, did Jason dig a sewer to lead to the lake? Like, he opens it up and there's this toilet. I was like, what? Why is that there? And I was like, there's no reason for that. And then I had another one, which was she uses a chainsaw to cut one log. And said that's like using a sledgehammer to drive home a nail. Like, why wouldn't she just take a hatchet or an axe? And that's all he's cooking stuff on the grill out there. She just gets one log, puts it in, and then she's like, all right, that's it.
Back in the closet.
So that was my other one.
All right, awesome. Sam, what did you have for the shadows?
I just like the whole premise of like 1 and 2. Like, why did he just not tell his mom he's still alive?
Yeah.
Again, he could have prevented all of this. Like all of the killing. Like, Mom, I'm good.
Yeah.
You waited 22 years. Like,
I didn't die.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's the worst sort of like retrofitting of the canon in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we're now going to go into our bonus features. Sam, what did you have when you researched the film?
Adrienne King, who played Alice, she actually got a stalker. She had an obsessive fan, which it ended up going into a stalker case, and then she retired from acting afterwards. She did return a little bit later, but she was stalked because of this film. So I thought that was kind of crazy. Also with her death, which was the ice pick scene. And she talked about it on Facebook, and she said it was actually a retractable ice pick. However, it was not tested before it was used. The first time they used it, it did not retract. So that's kind of scary.
So that leads into one of my bonus features, which was all of the injuries on set.
Oh.
So Steve Daskowitz, who plays Jason, for the shot of Jason stabbing a pitchfork through the door itself had not been gimmicked properly, and so he hurt his wrist on that because it just like jammed in.
Oh, yeah.
When jumping down a hill as Jason chases after Ginny, he accidentally landed on the pickaxe he was carrying and broke some ribs.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
In the fight in the hut, an exhausted Amy Steele mistimed a strike with a machete and cut his finger, requiring him to go to the emergency room, and he went in with a prop machete to his shoulder as a prank.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he also got rug burns around his eyes for having to wear the burlap sack for long hours, especially when they used tape to keep it from flapping. And yeah, so just the OHS on this one is atrocious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that was a fair bit. So I'll stop there. Chad, what else did you have?
Well, I had the main actress that the final girl of the franchise in the first one. Her name was Alice Hardy. She was supposed to be in the second one and actually be more involved.
Yeah.
But they couldn't agree on a contract, and the agent wanted more money than the studio was willing to give her, so they decided to just kill her off.
Yeah.
And she didn't know that she was going to be killed off. So she arrived first day of filming, and that's when she found out that she was only going to be on that one day and then killed.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I hope she fired her agent. I know she retired from acting, but fire that agent as well.
Also, I had a death scene that was cut and is still criticized and debated for being lifted from Mario Brava's twitch of death nerve is Sandra and Jeff's double impalement scene. Actress Marta Kober would lay on her back with her shoulders against the support with her co-star Bill Randolph laying on top of her. A pressure tank was used to release the blood from the wound on the back of Bill. An appliance was designed to attach the actor's back to double as his body, for which the spear would be driven through. The effect was never seen in the film, with only the spear raised in the air and then the audience only seeing it hit the floor underneath the bed. Yeah. So they cut that. They had this elaborate death scene like staged for them.
Yeah.
And then they cut it.
That's great.
Too violent, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's a lot of effort for that.
And I have two things that kind of attached to that, so I'll just go in.
Yeah.
So when they're talking about the prosthetic that was attached to him with the fake body, and he had to sort of kneel through a hole, in an interview, Bill Randolph said like he found it uncomfortable, and that, quote, the sound guy said, "Open your mouth," and blew some white powder in, and I was having a great time after that.
Yeah.
So that helped with the scene. And then I think part of the reason why they had to cut that scene was Marta Kober, who plays Sandra, was actually only 17 at the time.
Oh.
And they did have scenes with her topless.
Oh, okay.
And so they had to cut that because they eventually found out that, she's an underage actress, and whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, oops. Gotta not have that in there. Yeah.
Sam, what else did you have?
The actor who plays Jason, he actually auditioned for Paul, the role of Paul.
Yeah.
He didn't get the part, and he had gone to stunt school, so they asked him to be Jason. But how funny is that? You try to be this like
the hero,
and they're like, "Oh, do we have a role for you? Here's this ugly guy." You get to trudge around with a sack on your head and kill. But the killing people would be kind of cool. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then the last thing that I had here was just in the under the bed scene when Ginny was there. The actress said that it was Coca-Cola they used as the pee in that scene.
Oh.
Yeah.
Weird.
This one's kind of funny, though, because it says, to this day, it's still unknown whether it was Ginny or the rat who peed under the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I was
like, clearly that's a lot of pee for a rat. Like, I don't know how much. I was like, I think we all think it's Ginny, no? But
it's a lot of pee for Ginny to be like, she's on her stomach, so it's gone down her leg and past her foot and out like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hydrated.
Yeah. She's very hydrated. Chad, did you have any others?
I just had the taglines, so I wanted to mention the taglines that were there. 2 times the fear, 2 times the carnage, 2 times the terror.
Ooh.
Was that one. And then another one was, 1 year ago today, 12 of her friends were violently murdered. Why should the first anniversary be any different? And then one was just simply, the body count continues. And then just when you thought it was safe to go back to camp, and then the day you count on for terror is not over. Those were the taglines for the second one.
Alrighty. Thank you for those. That's awesome. I also had The budget was 1.25 million and the box office take was 21.7.
Nice.
So it did quite well for itself.
Made a bit of money, yeah.
And the international titles, there's only 3 that were sort of a little different than just Friday the 13th. Belgium just called it the Friday Killer. So,
all right.
Yep. Denmark, the Axe Murderer. But Italy's is great. The Killer is Sitting Next to You.
Oh.
Which sounds like an amazing like Giallo title, not a slasher Jason title. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for all of that. We are now going to put it onto our watchability scale, and I'm going to put it first. I really liked it. It is a typical slasher film. It is the formula that Chad's talked about and we've talked about. It's just, you've seen this movie 100 times, but it's fast. Like that 18 minutes goes slow at the beginning, but then it's 108 minutes or an hour and 8 minutes of just fun.
Yeah.
So
picks up and goes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sort of placing this in relation to where we've placed other Friday the 13th. And so for me, it's a 6. I think it's worth still checking out for the franchise. It's not time to jump off of it yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 3 is really the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
There. All right. Sam, where would you place it?
Oh, I don't think I'd go as high. I was just looking at the watchability scale and I'm comparing it to some of the movies on here. I think I'd give it a 5.
A 5?
Yeah, I was going between a 4 and a 5, but it's good for what it is. And I think too, it's very early. It's better than some of the other ones, so I think I'd pop it at a 5.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. And Chad, where would you put this one?
Oh, I'm a 6. I thought it was fun. I wouldn't go higher. It's not in the realm of a 7. It is very predictable. The acting isn't awesome. There are some moments that are just like, oh my gosh, this is hard to get through. But overall, it's a fun film, and I think it's worth checking out. So I'll give it a 6.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to us today. Remember to follow us on Instagram. We are at ScreamStreamPod. Stop by our website, screamsandstreams.com, where we have information about our episodes, descriptions of our categories, links to our research, our watchability scale, and a page where you can recommend movies you want us to discuss. And please rate, comment on, and subscribe to our show on any of the platforms where you get your podcasts. Until next time, this has been Mike and
Sam
and
Chad.
Scare you later.